Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day three of learning Power Apps. Today, we will learn how to create a Power App and also we will explore each and every option while we are creating app, and we will also know what is the significance. We will also learn what is the significance of each and every control in the learning portal. Sorry, we will also learn the significance of each and every control in the Power App Create portal. I logged on to Power Apps Maker portal. As we discussed yesterday, there are two ways to create an app. One is when you click on create option on your left hand rail, it will give you set of ways to create a Power App. And one of them is creating a blank app. And the other one is click on apps, and then you can click on the new app. Under that, click on canvas. We will first explore how to create a canvas app, and then we will move on to creating model driven app. Okay, just click on canvas. It will ask you for your your app name, say like sample demo app. Okay, followed by create. It will go ahead and create a app. What happens when you create an app is it will create an app with one screen by default. Okay, as soon as click on create app, it automatically create the app and it will spin one screen on the app. Let us explore each and every option. Also explore the various controls and their significance in Power App. Now, let's see the top navigation. This is to undo and redo. When we add some mistake or when we did by mistakenly, you can undo and redo, which is also can be done by control Z and control Y. Okay, and this is to cut and paste, and this is to add various controls on the app. Okay, and when you see here they have segregated the controls in various ways. The first section says these are all popular controls which are used frequently, and then they segregated the controls, whether it is an input control, display control, layout, blah 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 blah. Okay, we will explore some of them today, and rest we will explore while we are learning during the course. The next one is to add the data. When we are creating an app, we need to associate the app with the data source. That is nothing but adding the data. While we are creating the app, this is where we will come and say, where is my data source and what is my data source which I'm adding onto this app. Next one is adding screens. If you see here, there are four standard layouts. The first one is a blank screen, split screen, which has two vertical sections, followed by sidebar, which has one header, one sidebar, and one main area. And then other one is header and footer. If you see here, it has a header and footer and a main area. If you notice closely, each and every layout has two images in it. One is the regular window size and the other one is mobile size. All of them are same. Now let's spend a minute on that. Why they are like that. Power App, also known as low code, no code platform. What is that? Power App is meant to give a flexibility to the citizen developers. Who are these citizen developers? Citizen developers are a user who doesn't have any technical background. Citizen developers are users who doesn't have any technical background but are able to create the apps within no time. Got it? Now, how will they be able to create is in this way of developing apps has a very minimal code. What is that minimal code is as good as if you create a simple Excel formula in Excel, you can achieve this. Such simple formulas are this. And Power App is not meant to sit back and do your job at the desk. Power App is to render the app across the devices. It will be flexible to render in Windows desktop, mobile, tablet, you name it. Okay, for that, all you need is a app which supports on your smartphone from your Android or from your iOS. Basically, all you need to do is you go to your app store, download Power Apps app and authenticate yourself with your dot on my dot on Microsoft account. Once you authenticate, you will be able to run the apps which you have created on your Windows system or like Windows screen on your mobile, which we will see down the line. Followed by there are templates. And if you notice here, there are some standard templates. There are two type of screens. Screens has two variants. One is a layout and the other one is template. When you notice in layout, they have divided or bisected the screen into various sections. Whereas in template, they have got the screen with some default controls and default behavior on the screen has been defined. However, if you see, this also got a blank screen, a scrollable screen, list, success, tutorial, email, people, blah, blah, blah. We will see when to use what and we will try to leverage some of them. Okay. Next one is themes. What is a theme? A theme is to define your screen behavior. Meaning, if you see here, the blue screen is selected by default. But if I select a, a orange color screen, what happens is whatever the controls I add it on my screen by default come with orange color background. So coral color background, meaning a button will by default come with the fill color as coral, and the drop down will come with some coral color drop down option, all those things. So similarly, all other layout themes. Next one is very simple background color for your screen. Default white color will come. Say like if I just say apply this, boom, my entire screen background got changed at one go. The next one is background image. If I want to apply a particular image to my app, I can select my image from my uh, repository, image repository on your desktop, and it will get apply. What happens when you select that is it automatically apply that background of my screen. Okay. And if you want to set that background completely to the screen, if you see here, image is fit, but if I say fill, it automatically stretches. In the similar way, you can apply your image, but remember, you can only apply one image to your background. What if I want my image to be a dynamic image, sir? I do not want to upload. I want my image to be rendered from a online web store. Example, now if I want to set example, if I want to set this image, copy image address from the web and go to your app, select the screen under background image, just remove that and just say in double quotes, provide that image URL. Boom, that's all. It will render that image for your app. These are all the tips or steps we follow to beautify our app. Okay. Next option is settings. Focus more on the settings, please. Settings will let you change the behavior of your app. Now, the first one is the name and followed by description. This is a sample app for creating first time in Power App Maker portal, and followed by what is the icon I want to set to my app. Where does this icon come as? When you go to apps on your Maker portal, did you notice that there is one different color, different kind of icon, SDK Online Assessments? Hopefully you are able to see. If not, you could see now. See this? The different icons. So this is where you could see the icon. Not only that, when you run the app also, you will see that icon while running the app over here. See that? Got it? So here is the SDK icon. Got it? So but here you need to add it. However, when you run the app for the first time, you will be able to see that. If you do not give that icon, what happens is this is the standard icon. The standard icon will come while you're running the app. Okay. So if you want a custom image to your app, you can always set your a custom image to your app. Okay. Or else if you want to select one of the out of the box icons, you are also allowed to do that. However, if you want to add your custom image, click on add image and then select one icon to your app. Say like I have selected a organ, see one organ of the body. Say like organ donation was one of the project in my previous session. So that time I was selected. But the background doesn't assume that the background I wanted to change. You can always change the background with a different color. Something like that. This color will render when you run the app, followed by color fill, meaning if you want to fill this color of the background, if icon fill, I'm sorry, if the icon, if you select the icon as part of this icon section, you can change the icon color. Say like I selected edit, but now I want to render my pencil in a different color. I can change that. But a custom image cannot be changed. Okay. Followed by a default setting, which is to save your app once in every 2 minutes. It automatically save, whether you save it or you don't save it, it automatically saves the app. And the next one and the newly added feature is can be used offline, meaning if you do not have a internet connectivity on your app while you are running the app, you will be able to open the app, but you cannot do the data operations like post back your submission, all those things. What it will do is it will save the data in the cache, and once you get connectivity to your internet, it automatically posts back to your data source. That is called offline mode of the app. Okay, also select also mode profile, which is related to this. Let's not worry about that for a while. Next one is the data row limit. Focus more on this. Data row limit is a very important setting, will also define how many rows a app can pull by default on the app. And this row limit can be set a maximum of 2000 only. When I say 2001, it will come back and tell you the value need to be between 1 and 2000. You cannot set more than 2000. What exactly this means is when you say that I am rendering my table, say like uh, library management in a library books table, I have select 2500 records. For a matter 2001 records, but by default it will be able to show only 2000 records. But then what about that one record, sir? This data row limit is to delegate the user's operations on the data source. My data source here is Dataverse. But what do you do is you will get the data and associate or bind the data onto this one, onto a gallery, or you will get one record out of 2000 records and you will assign that record to a form. At any point of time, user would be able to see only 100 records maximum, or 15 records or 20 records maximum. How could you read 100 records at a glance, right? So maximum you would record 10 records or 15 records at a glance, right? So it will keep on load. Maximum into app cache, it can load only 2000 records. That is what it means. We do not have to worry. What about if I have my gallery, if I have my data source with 10,000 records? No rush. You will write the appropriate logic to get the data from there, and then the data will get load automatically. We will see that. Okay. By default, the data row limit is 500. I would advise to leave it 500 by default. Do not have to increase. The reason why I'm saying is if you increase more than 500, it will load that many records onto the app and it will pull down the app performance, because the more you load the data, the more cache will be occupied by that app and the RAM will get slow down. Okay, especially when you run the same app on the mobile, that much space need to be reserved to that app and the app will perform low. Next one is debug the published app. So if you want to debug the app which is already published, you need to enable this. We will learn down the line. For now, just keep in mind that you can also debug the app once it is published into production. But how do you do that on a published app? We will learn down the line. Next, automatically create environment variables when adding data sources. Uh, this is also advanced topic. What is an environment variable means when I am deploying an app with some settings need to be done or some input parameters need to be set to that app. Example, my admin URL. Once I submit a record, I want to send an email to all the admins. That parameter or that email address, we will use one value while we are creating the app in the dev environment, which could be our own email ID. Say like it will send 1500 emails to me to ensure that email format is intact or not. But when it comes to UAT, the email address will be different. When it comes to production, the email address would be different. But you will not edit the app on every deployment. That's a bad practice. So rather what we will do is we will add one environment variable. When you are in dev environment, this is my value. When you are in UAT, this is my admin email ID. When you are in production, this is my admin email ID. That is how we will control the dynamic values between the environments, so called, that is called environment variable. The last one is enable app on start property. Whenever the app is initiated, I wanted to run set of steps on app on start. App on start. While starting my app itself, I want to kickstart some actions. I want to perform some actions. I want to perform some formulas. That is when we will use this property, app on start property. Under that I can define some operations. So that you want to enable or you want to disable. By default it is enable, and which is very much needed, leave it as enable. These are all the general option settings for a app. Next one is display. Display is to define how my app should render, whether my app should render in a landscape pattern or a portrait pattern. Landscape is what you see here, and portrait is a mobile orientation. You see that the app automatically change the behavior here as well here. When you create an app in portrait, it will shrink down the width and increase the height. But that is mainly or mostly used when you are targeting the app user only on the mobile. Only on the mobile. But when you use this layout and render on a Windows machine, it looks like this. It looks very uncomfortable, right? I'm wasting this space and this space. I'm using only 20% of my window space, which is not going to help the user. In fact, at times it frustrates the user if there are more controls on the screen. Again, go back, display, and change it back to landscape. Remember, when you want to switch between the screen orientations, decide in the beginning. Once you add the controls on the screen and switch between the orientation, the controls will get shuffle here and there, and the alignment will be cluttery. It will not align automatically. You being a developer need to align the controls when you switch between the orientations. So orientation is something you need to define or to decide at the time of creating the app. And this orientation is not for one screen. It is gonna change all the screens in the app. I repeat, Orientation is not for one screen. This is not going to change the orientation for all the screens in the app. And for that matter, all the settings are at the app level, not to that particular screen where you are that for that moment. Okay. So all these app settings are at the app level. Next one is upcoming features. One is preview, experimental, and retired. I repeat, preview, experimental, and retired. Power App comes in different levels. Power App feature Microsoft releases in different features. First one is preview. First one is experimental, followed by preview, followed by general available. Last one is retired. Again, Microsoft releases Power App features in Microsoft divided Power App features in four categories. First category is experimental. Second category is preview. Third category is general available. Last category is retired. When Power App or Microsoft says a feature as part of experimental means, as the name says experimental, it is purely a experimental feature which can disappear at any point of time. They are experimenting something to see how it is going to help the end user. The next one is the experiment went well, and now they want to see how it behave, and they'll move from experimental to preview. So they are waiting to see the user feedback, and they move from one bucket to another bucket, which is experimental bucket to preview bucket. These features will sit in preview bucket for a long time. At times it may extend for years also. There are some features were there in preview for 2 years. The one which I know is components. Components were there for 2.5 years in preview only. The next one is general available. General available means it went through all the testing, it went through all the changes it's supposed to go, and now it is generally available for the public, meaning it went to production. Once a feature released in general available bucket, freeze and final, that will be there forever. That feature will be available forever. Last but not least, retired. The features which were in experimental or preview did not yield the right results. What they will do, they will retire those features, which means no longer available or no longer supported by Microsoft. If you want to use it, that's your headache. It's no more supported by Microsoft. If you create a feature, or if you add a feature which is part of retired, and tomorrow it stop working, that's not Microsoft responsibility. Microsoft will answer your questions when you log a ticket only if the features are under preview or under general available. If you add a feature under experimental and stop working, stop behaving crazy, they will come back and tell you that as the name says experimental, it will not work 100%. There are some more changes need to be done because it is still under experimental. There are various preview features, there are various experimental features, there are various retired features. Let's not worry about these are all that. So just for your understanding. The last but one is support. This is where you will uh, get some of the details which you need to provide to Microsoft. When you have a issue with your app, Microsoft will come and ask you, could you please tell me what is your app version and also your app session ID? This is where you will come that time. I repeat, when you have to submit a Microsoft ticket for your app issue, Microsoft first will ask you two things. May I know like what is the version authorization version authoring version of your app? This is where you will come to know what is your authoring version, which is you could see here. Also, please provide your session ID. This is your session ID. They will pull the logs on their side for that session ID to understand what is happening on that particular session and what had to be addressed to that app to meet your requirement. Okay. Again, helpful links could be documentation, terms of use, blah, blah, blah. These are all various settings you should know while you're creating the app. Next one is to open a app. If you have a copy of your app from your friend or from your fellow team member, you can open or you can directly import that app into App Maker portal by selecting the app here. We will learn down the line. Next one is it is showing you what is the mode of your app. It is editing or read only. Of lately, we have got this feature. Canvas app has one limitation. Canvas app is not multi-developer environment, meaning that when you are working on a app, only one developer can make the changes at any point of time. More than one other cannot do on default. However, if you configure your app with GitHub or configure your app with DevOps app repository session, app repository, you will be able to give authority to more than one developer at a time. For Canvas, I repeat, in Canvas, if an app is opened by one developer, the second developer will be pushed into queue. No two developers can update the app on the same time. So it will tell you what is the mode you are at that particular moment. You are editing or you are read only. If you are read only, it will tell you who is editing that app here. Okay. Next one is to share your app. Once you are done with your changes and you want to share your app with your team member or to end user, you will select this and then you will just say, whom do you want to share with? 1 second. Now you'll say, share here. For the first time, it will come like that. When you click on share, it will ask you with whom do you want to share this app with. So it will ask you various options. First one is whom do you want to share? Say like I want to share with Sai Prudhvinath, and you can also set a email message. You can define, hey, Mr. Sai, this app is all about this and just validate blah 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 features as part of this release. And then if I want to set a image as part of the email, I can also set an image as part of the email. Say like if I set that image, if I select an image, that image will come down here. But there are some settings is that 1 MB is the maximum size of your image, and also the ratio they are preferring is 4:3 ratio. So once you set that image, it will be included as part of your email. And now the important part, how you want to share this app to the user, the fellow team member, as a co-owner or just a regular general user. What is the difference between these two? When you when you share an app as a co-owner, the next user or whoever got this share can also make the changes on the app. As the name says co-owner, that user also a owner on the app and make the changes, and in fact delete the app also. So while giving the co-owner permissions, you have to be very keen that is he capable enough to handle the app or not. And if you do not click this checkbox, by default, that user is a user. What that means is they can run the app, which clearly says when you create an app, the app is only be visible or only be reserved to the developer until unless they share app with anyone. I repeat, when you create an app on your environment, the app will be only visible to you. Example, Devi Sai Lakshmi created an app. Only Devi can see the app. Unless Devi share that app with Kusuma, Devi is the only user could see the app in that environment. Though Kusuma has access to that environment, they Kusuma cannot see. Kusuma has to log on with Devi credentials to see the app. Okay. But if Devi share the app to Kusuma, yes, Kusuma can see with her login. How Devi share the app to Kusuma. So if Devi save the app, share the app to Kusuma as a co-owner, so the Kusuma can also update the app as a co-owner. But if Devi say share the app as just a regular user, Kusuma cannot do anything. She can only run the app and provide update to Devi. That's all. One more thing. When you are sharing the app, you need to ensure one more option as the data sources associated with that app also have permissions to the new user coming to that app. Example, I am sharing the app with Devi, but Devi doesn't have access on the data source. There is no use. Here in Canvas, we need to ensure the app permission and also the data source associated to that, especially when the data source is outside Power Platform. What are those? SharePoint, OneDrive, SQL, Oracle, everything outside. But in case of Dataverse permissions will be handled with security roles. So once user is part of that particular security role, they will automatically get access onto that data source. So security roles will be applied at the environment level. The tables sit in the environment. If you got a read permissions at the environment level as part of the security role, you will only be able to read those tables. Again, you read those tables, which means you are by default getting the data hours table permissions. But if the data source is outside the Power Platform, you will have to ensure that that particular user has permissions on that external data source. That is how we will share the app. The next one is app checker. The app checker will tell you what is the state of your app. If your app checker has a red symbol over here, which means that there are some errors in your app which you need to address. Okay, so which clearly says that app will be compiled every minute. App will be interpreted every minute. So the Power App is a compiler and interpreter by default. There is no separate command or separate step for you to compile your app to see what are all the errors. It every minute it automatically compiles by it compiles on the background, and it will show you whether the app has any issues or not. If there are some errors on the app which you need to address, it will give a red icon or a red circle there. It shows that your app has some issues. Mind you, it might not work as you expect because there are some errors. And the next one is comments. Now, I am creating an app with my team, and my team member head count is more than 3 people. Now, I want to give a comment to Devi. Hi, Devi, I have added a new screen. Please ensure that that screen has not touched while you are deploying or while you are updating the app. I can leave that comment here. State that it clearly shows who commented that. This is to update. Boom. Once I send the comment on the app, it will stay forever. So if there are any comments, or if I want to see is there any comment which I need to monitor, I can just come here. But if you want to delete your comment, you can always delete the comment. Okay, and resolve the thread, meaning I have a long thread. I have more than one user sitting on this app at the same time. I am logged in, Kusuma logged in, and Devi logged in. Now Devi sent a message to me stating that, hi Krishna, I see you are working on the app, will it take long time for you? It will pop up here. Now I'll reply to Kusuma stating that no, Kusuma, it should not take long time. Probably all I would need is just for the next 15 minutes. Once I'm done with my discussion, what I will do, I'll come here and I'll just delete the thread or resolve the thread. There is nothing wrong to leave the thread like that. The next one is to play the app or to preview the app. When you are implementing the app, you want to see how the app is rendering on the real time. How do you know is when you click on the preview of the app. That is when you will see how a app is gonna look like. Next one is to save the app. At the time of saving, you can do various other things, whether you want to save this app on the cloud or you want to download a copy. You remember I told you you can open an app directly. How do you get that is when you save the app as download a copy, it will download a .app extended file, .app extended file onto your desktop, that you can share it with your friend, and the friend or your fellow resource or fellow team member can open directly by just browsing that .app file. Okay, and this is to publish the app. And the next one is the other options are save the app with notes and save as. If you want to save the same app with another name, it will create a copy of the app. Last one is publish the app. While publishing the app, you can add some notes to the publishing version. Okay, so now it will also tell you what is the name of the app and what is the icon you will see when you run the app. So you can provide your version notes, publishing version notes. And when you click on publish, boom, the app got published. Now you will see that only once you publish the app, that is when, or you save the app, that is when it will come onto your app repository. Unless until you will not be able to see your app here. Either you need to save or you need to publish. And remember, When you run the app from here, it will only run or render the feature or settings of the app after you publish. Example, now I'm adding a control on the app. I added a control here. Now I have added this label on the app. But when I go to my app and refresh, doesn't matter, 1,000 times you refresh, you will not be able to see because you only added the app. You did not publish the app. You even if you save also, you cannot see that. On the runtime, user can only see the published options, published features, published functionality. But if I go ahead and publish the app, see, a new version of the app is coming. We will let you know once the app is available, meaning that it is still in the publishing process. Maybe it might take you or using a old version. Now you refresh it to see the latest features. Mostly you would need a minute or two to see that behavior. See this again. Unless until you publish, you will not be able to see the changes on the runtime. These are all the top navigation options. The next set is the left navigation, the tree view. Tree view will show you the app structure. This is what is the tree view. See that? The app structure. How many screens are there on the app? Next one is to insert. Whatever the insert you have here, the same insert, nothing more. Using this, you will be able to add various controls, various components onto your app screen, onto your screen. Next one is data. This is where you will add the data. When you click here or you come here and add the data, both are same. Next one is media. The images or the audio files added onto the app will render here. You remember last, just before I provide the URL, I have added another background image to the app, right? So that is the image come and sit under images or media. Okay, media folder. But sir, what if I want to add additional images? You can come under media, just add your images by clicking on the upload. It will let you browse from your local folder and it will just get add here. Example, I added an icon for online banking. Now come here, say this. This is going to assume that this is my app icon. I'll just add it as part of my images gallery or sorry media repository, and I'll just add there, and that will be rendered out like that. Unless you add or upload that image, you will not be able to add here. Though you just refer to your live repository, that will only be referred like this. Okay. Next one is Power Automate. If there are any Power Automate flows associated with this app will be shown over here. Next one is variables. You can define in fact, three type of variables in Power Apps. So in Power App, there are three type of variables. First one is a local variable, also called context variable. Second one is called global variable. Third one is a collection. I repeat, in Power Apps, there are three type of variables. One is a context variable or local variable. Second one is global variable, and third one is collections. The first two, as the name says, variables can hold single value or can hold a record. Third one is collection, can hold set of data, a table of content. Collection can hold table of content, whereas local variable and global variable can hold either a single value or a record. So that we know what are the three type of variables, we need to be cognizant to leverage those three variables, when to use what and how to use them. We will learn down the line. Okay. However, if you want to know how many context variables are there, how many global variables are there, how many collections are there in your app, you can come here and see that. Next one is advanced tools. There are two tools which you could use to your app to make your app better. Number one is monitor. The monitor is to understand your app performance and are there are any issues in your app. That's where the monitor comes. And the tests to create the test scenarios. For now, let's not worry about it. The last one is to search. You created a variable in screen one and leveraged across the app and you do not remember like how many times you use that variable. How could you figure out is just click on search, just provide your app name. It will list out all the various screens which you have used as part of your app. Those are all the options. Now the right hand side will show you the options for your app or the particular screen. Now, if you see what you see your screen level settings, when you select your control level properties, when you are at your screen level properties, when you are at control level properties, and notice a comment icon here. If there are any comments to that screen level, it will show you, hey buddy, there is one comment for you to review. So you can click on that comment and it will show you what is that comment, so that you will know if there are any comments which you need to address. Okay. And if you are done and you know what it is, just say that delete, boom, that's all. It will go off. And then the icon will also get disappear. Next one is if you select the image level properties. I do not want to spend more time here and explain each and every property. We will learn these properties down the line also. While we are leveraging these properties, I will emphasize more on each and every control and every property. What is the significance of that property and how to use and when to use. Okay. Now, we will learn some of the important properties you should know while you are creating the app. Okay. And also, we will create a very simple app and we will publish and we will see some operations today. The first one is very important one is for now, let's not have any background. Let me delete the background and let me add a heading to my app. Just observe this control. There is some icon coming by default. What is this icon? Now you see that, is it readable now? So when you just go to that, there is a small icon. That icon is called a Copilot. Copilot. Microsoft recently added artificial intelligence to the Power App Maker portal to make new developers life easy like you. New developers like you can make app creation quick and fast. However, this is a premium feature. To leverage this, it's a premium feature. As of today, it is preview and open by default, but down the line, it may go for money. Okay, unless you pay Unless you pay X amount of dollars or X amount of rupees, you cannot leverage this. You'll have to have some that particular license model to see this feature. Now, what this will do, just go ahead and click that general text. It will let you decide what you wanted to do. It is giving you suggestions. What you want to do. If you want to add a formatting of idea, what does your label do? Or if you want to add some simple if condition, these are all the possible if conditions. Okay. And there are some other resources for you to learn on the Copilot. As I said, this is Copilot. Okay. That's what it is. For now, we are not going to leverage that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a heading to my app. Now, say this is a this is my first Power App. Once you select that, as I said, there are various properties for that control. Now, font size, I'm just increasing to 20, and I'm defining my font as bold or semi-bold or lighter note. I'll just say like bold, center align. Probably I'll say 35, in fact 50. So it is more readable as a heading to my app. Now, if I want to give a background color to my app, I can give a mild background color. I'm just giving a background color to my app, and followed by a small definition for my app if you want to. There is no hard rule that you have to have some definition on the landing screen. It's just a for a namesake I'm giving. Okay, this is a sample app to understand the basic. If you notice, after I submit some data, it automatically got disappear, right? To avoid that kind of a behavior, you can click each and every property. Here is a clickable property. Just say like click on that, same will come over here. This is called formula area. This is called formula area, formula bar. Now here you can define whatever you want. This is a sample app to understand Power App properties and screens. Again, I'll just say center line. That's it. Now, if I play the app, I can see like, okay, how the app is rendering. And notice there is one small widget here. What is that small widget is to see how my app is gonna render in various devices. How my app will render if I render my same app on iPad mini. That is how it is going to render. If I render my app on a Samsung Galaxy Tab, iPod 11, 12.9, it will show you then and there. Okay, but how it will render if I render my app on a mobile iPhone 11, it is going to be render. Notice my app, my device is on a portrait mode. So now on a landscape mode, I just tilted my device. See that? This is how the app will render. It automatically shows you. And what about my Samsung, this one? Whatever the area you see here, that is what you could see on your phone. Okay. It has a various devices. Try to focus on the width of this image. It's getting changed, right? It's getting altered by the type of the phone I'm selecting. No, 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 no. I'm not going to use that uh, on a device, but where am I going to use is I'm going to use it uh, onto my regular Windows. Just click on here, boom, it comes to the browser mode. This is my Windows browser mode, regular device mode. Okay, but if you are looking at a mobile, this is how it will come. And if you want to see how it will behave when you change the orientation of the phone. Portrait as the portrait is like this, and if it is my if I tilt my phone in a landscape mode, okay, this is how it will come. This is more readable. Okay, fine. So I have to do blah 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 blah. Okay, that's it. Now I got a idea. Now just remove the layout or the rendition pattern. This is how my app is coming. Very good. Now the important points. When you are creating a screen, the naming convention for that screen is SCR. SCR had to be preceded, followed by whatever the name of the screen. And notice the way how I am naming my screen. SCR in lowercase, H in uppercase, S in uppercase, SCR home screen. This way of naming convention is called camel sensitive naming convention, which will have two or three characters to define what is that control, followed by the actual name of the control. SCR means a screen, followed by my screen is a home screen. So I said home screen H and S are the uppercase, camel sensitive. Remember, these are all industry standards and one has to adhere to that. No exceptions. And if it is a label, I'll say label LBL, label LBL, followed by my label name, label heading. Again, here H capital. Again, LBL app description. Here, app A capital, D capital. Remember, each syllable, first character has to be uppercase. In every syllable, the first character has to be uppercase. That is called camel sensitive. Sir, do I have to give the full word as a description? There is no hard rule on that. But the every syllable first character has to be uppercase. If you want to cut down or shorten your label or a control name, you are absolutely good to do that as long as it is readable. Okay. Now here I want to cut down my label name to as small as I can. I'll set like LBL app description DESC, which eventually giving me a clue that it could be a description or a description. Dis okay, DESC. Similarly, each and every control has its own prefix. The label has LBL prefix. Screen has SCR prefix. Farm FRM. Text input TXT. Text input. Gallery GAL. Gallery. Rectangle REC. Date picker DTP or DP. Button BTN. Again, farm FRM. Text input TXT. Gallery GAL. Rectangle REC. Date picker DTP or DP. Button BTN. Those characters or those prefixes have to be associated with the control.